Hello everybody, welcome back to the OS World Cup 2021. We've got another great matchup for you this morning. We started off strong. We had Korea versus Ukraine at 11 UTC, Hong Kong versus Turkey at 12 UTC, both strong finishes from those two teams, and now we have another highly contested matchup. I think this one very well anticipated given the UK's performance in previous years, and Singapore with a couple of roster changes that may benefit them this year from last year. But regardless, we'll wait to see what happens in that match. I am one of your commentators today, Chili Repair. I will be joined by none other than this one guy. Good morning.
Hello, good morning. It is wonderful to be back here at the OSU World Cup. Snuff with such a banger of a match for the first one I'm commentating this year. Very excited to see how this match goes. The UK redemption arc starts here from their somewhat disappointing result last year. Like you said, some team improvements, some definite progress in that regard, but Singapore, man, not a team to be overlooked. So definitely one to look forward to.
That is the truth there. Both teams with two players being replaced from their previous rosters last year, most notably for the United Kingdom, Doomsday and Ventus not returning for the tournament this year. They will be replaced by a returning Karthy and Jemzsee, the new aim star of the UK for them this year. Singapore, getting rid of Lanje and Lock-On, will be bringing Emilia and SeeL. So four very decent switches for both of these rosters. I think, again, it'll benefit them in the later stages for both teams. They're gaining a little bit of skill cap. Emilia, not as proficient in tournaments as what he might have used to have been, or as compared to other players. So I'm very interested to see how he performs in this match today.
Yeah, you know, that's an interesting person because I think everybody that's even like vaguely familiar with Emilia knows that he has this just ridiculously high skill cap, especially on, you know, stuff like aim because of his play style. He is a very, very strong player overall, but like you said, not somebody that you see in tournaments all that often. So definitely a player to kind of keep an eye on as for what his performance looks like. Obviously, you know, the jokes about his accuracy thing because he plays tap X aside, very, very mechanically sound player. So I think definitely brings something to that roster. But very, very excited personally to see the return of Karthy. You know, especially, you know, after some of his like health issues that we know he's been going through, that he's talked about on Twitter and stuff. So good to see him back competing in the World Cup. You know, I think part of what kind of sunk UK last year was their somewhat lower skill cap. It felt like, you know, losing to South Korea wasn't the biggest surprise, and I think it was round of 16. But you know, going on and losing to Indonesia in losers round 3, finishing top 16 after they'd gotten second in 2018, third in 2019, to drop all the way down to top 16. You know, you could definitely sense that some change was maybe in the offing in the year in between the OWCs. So UK, I think, you know, this is, I said this before we went live, but I think this is something of a redemption arc for them. You know, after having such good performances for a few years there, to kind of fall off, I think they're going to want to really show what they've got this year. And that starts early. It starts against this Singapore team here in the round of 32 very early on.
No, absolutely. I think we kind of referred to last year for the UK as that, you know, that rebuilding year that they needed. You know, unfortunately, every team is going to have to go through that every couple of years. It's very difficult, I think, for the morale of, you know, each of them to have to push through that, and especially with a team that had been traditionally as dominant as the UK in previous years. I mean, they're one of the consistently high-performing teams across multiple years in this tournament, and for them to take a turn for the worse to that extent last year was a crushing blow for them. But I think that they are highly motivated this year. I think the return of Karthy is something that is going to benefit them greatly. They've got a lot of players with significant performance, you know, increase from last year. You know, we saw players like Kingling who, you know, making their OWC debut, and this year the improvement across him, and you know, I guess I'll just use it as an example in particular, has been absolutely unreal. Is going to be a pivotal player for them this year. I think, you know, bloo and Malteser and majoreh and all those players coming back as well, going to be good for them to maintain this mental status that they have right now. And of course, Bubbleman tried and true every single year for the UK. Their captain, their rock, is going to be, you know, he's gonna have to step it up this year, I think, to drag them into that maybe top 8 positioning again. But I think they could make it work. But Singapore, on these early rounds, you know, Singapore has definitely traded a lot of skill cap in previous years for a higher skill floor. But, you know, on a round of 32 matchup against the UK, they're going to be able to put up a couple of points here, I think. But I think we're going to have to look for that overall team consistency that I think you want to see so often from these teams.
Yeah, and I think, you know, these teams do both have a fair number of people who are tournament regulars, so I think the consistency probably should be there. Realistically speaking, this pool is not all that difficult, right? I mean, it's round of 32, you don't expect it to be. And guys out there who are in a ton of tournaments, you know, Tebi plays a lot of tournaments, megumic plays a lot of tournaments, and no matter what, if you play in a tournament, you're gonna get that early round experience, right, by default, because you don't even have to win a match to play the first pool. So I think Singapore might be in an interesting spot here where they have a fair amount of experience, but I think the UK, you know, just has that higher overall skill cap, so some of the more difficult maps in this pool may favor them a little bit. Also, one thing that I'm going to look out for here is kind of a funny thing that last year, you know, the joke was that UK kind of got mechanics abused by Indonesia. They picked all the speed maps, and UK really didn't have an answer for it. This year, in the intermediate year, they've really spent a lot of time training and improving that mechanical skill. Guys like Malteser, majoreh, the return of Karthy, very, very strong in those the kind of speed mechanics. So I would not be surprised to see UK just go right down the line, you know, NoMod 5, DT2, DT3 kind of stuff, where they can really put their finger control and speed at the forefront. And looks like once we get this intermediate issue here sorted out, it looks like we are going to be seeing NoMod 5 as that first pick. So curious to see how they perform on it. Curious to see what Singapore can do as well. But I think we should be about ready to go here. I'm not positive what's going on, but
Clan is pulling a funny, so we will we'll see if we can get switched back over. Apparently Bubbleman's game did crash, so
it looks like we're already in.
So we're getting back through.
Yeah, Bubbleman wasn't in for this map anyway. They're rolling with Malteser, majoreh, bloo, Karthy on the UK side. megumic, Tebi, Demonical, and Emilia in for Singapore on the first pick here. NoMod 5 kind of eases you into it. You know, this map doesn't really get as difficult, you know, until you get maybe a quarter to a third of the way through. But it does require a decent amount of, you know, early round speed stamina. A lot of triples, a lot of quins. Looks like Tebi, the first one to get caught out by that.
Oh, not the worst start ever there. Karthy did find a break a little bit earlier on in the map, and with accuracy relatively similar to what Tebi's is here. It's not going to be much of a difference between these two teams here. It really is the difference on majoreh right now being significantly more comfortable on speed in this lobby compared to everyone else. Malteser is going to be right up next to him, kind of as expected. I think Malteser and majoreh, two of the kind of staple speed players for the UK, easily, I think, their strongest pairing that they can put up here. You know, you throw Bubbleman in for some of those stamina-oriented picks, but, you know, bloo and Karthy, both very skilled players. This is, you know, and I guess we can put eyes on majoreh, especially with the, you know, winning Speed Cup in this past year, is kind of, again, a staple of the speed community as a whole. So having that on your roster for a NoMod 5 like this, you know, basically having a guaranteed FC with high accuracy is pivotal for the UK. And regardless of Singapore putting up two strong combos on megumic and Demonical right now, this overall team performance from Malteser, majoreh, and even Karthy now recovered from that beginning break will be very solid for them. Blue's going to have a little bit more trouble, but regardless, still going to put up well above 600k for a confident first point for the UK. And majoreh misses the ending.
Majoreh,
wow.
No.
Cannot.
Oh, what did you do?
His slider broke.
His slider broke. Oh, that's so sad. That would have been a very nice early score to get, but it's still an S rank. It's still the top score in the lobby by a bit over Demonical. And yeah, I mean, that's exactly what you want as UK, you know, come into your first pick and just have a very comfy first map for you that even with, you know, a little bit maybe of an underperformance from bloo, still able to win. Tebi and Emilia not having the greatest time. And that's kind of what I was saying, you know, the concern was there for Singapore was that, if the UK goes into these kind of mechanics picks, what we've kind of dubbed left-hand maps, Singapore might have some trouble with a few of those. So we'll see what kind of pick they come back with to try and contest that. It's interesting, you see Bubbleman stepping out for the first map there. I wonder if we won't see much of him in this match if the UK has a strong lead. If he wants to kind of sit back and let his teammates take the stage a little bit more, give them the experience here in these early rounds to really get the confidence up.
I completely agree. I think that if there was any around, I think Bubbleman stepping out for some of these early stages is going to be good for the team to, work together, maybe without requiring that, carry presence, that guaranteed FC. It also takes a lot of the pressure off of Bubbleman. I think he, especially, like last year, it puts so much pressure on you when you are, not only one of the best players in your country, but one of the best players in tournaments as a whole. And coming into maps and being basically expected to FC or perform highly on maps over and over again puts a lot of stress on players. And I think if the UK is able to minimize that stress that they put on Bubbleman through these early stages and, make more use of him in late stages, maybe when he'll be more useful or, when they're going to kind of need that performance, is something that they may want to look for. I'm not sure if that's their strategy, but I could completely understand if that's the route that they were going to go for, especially against a team like Singapore, where, these two teams, their skill sets aren't all that different. They're both mechanically strong teams. I mean, they have the technical side of that roster, but, especially for stuff like AR8, Singapore has got maybe a very minor advantage on stuff like this, and there's not too many maps that are, reading oriented or more gimmicky in this pool. So, you're looking at close matchups, even on stuff that they're good at. They are going to put Bubbleman in for this one, so I guess we will see him a little bit for the AR8. Understandable, they don't really have a 4-man AR8 roster besides him, but I'm interested to see how much he will frequent this lobby.
Yeah, I think if they pick stuff along those same lines as NoMod 5, he might sit out a little bit and let the teammates come in. Singapore, though, they go the exact opposite of the first pick from the UK, kind of what I would have expected, going into this very classic early round AR8 hidden. It's basically, kind of that linear geometric pattern aim. So it's just a very, very straightforward early round low approach rate test. And guys like Rtyzen on the Singapore side, for people who follow along community tournaments, very, very good at these types of maps. megumic, Loslite as well. Emilia sitting in still. I don't think of him as a low AR player, but, his aim is very good. So as long as he can read fine, it shouldn't be an issue. Yeah. And you recognize quickly, I think, that this is like a Mirage X Delis collab. I mean, it's just the most blatantly obvious, stylistic map that you're ever going to see. So it just should be a good sort of test, switching things up skill set wise, forcing players to go straight from your team's kind of speed roster to your team's reading aim roster is an interesting direction to switch to, and forces teams to kind of use their full roster, kind of switch things up a little bit in a lot of cases, and 2 early breaks from UK, so maybe not the absolute strongest on this.
Yeah, it's not going too well for them at the beginning here. Kingling with low accuracy. Blue is a little bit more coverable, but that's a double trade from Singapore there. That's going to bring them back into it a little bit here.
Jemzsee breaking as well, so it's just Bubbleman on the FC for UK. Loslite and Emilia still full comboing for Singapore. And Emilia shocking everyone with the highest AC in the lobby. So it is possible, even with the Tap X, to have good AC on these lower BPM maps. Another break from Kingling and megumic. This one's going to stay relatively close, but that double FC should work for Singapore to keep them in the lead.
I think Blue's accuracy is making a big difference for the UK despite that break.
Yeah, the 97 on megumic and the mid-98 on Loslite, dragging them down just a little bit. But Jemzsee at 97 and Kingling at 96, so I mean, it's a tough one for UK. Singapore is in a pretty comfy spot here, assuming that those 2 full combos hold.
This is a tap X when linear aim moment right here. Emilia is going to be so comfortable on this map, I think. We mentioned if you could read the AR on this, I think this is something Emilia just kind of tears through. This is very well suited to his skill set as well in terms of the aim patterning here. megumic's going to break again, but Blue trades it.
Yeah, notably with Emilia is on this, it's just 180 BPM, so he's basically able to just tap the entire thing. It's really not a lot of that alternating tap and then key press, so it's not as challenging. Another break from Kingling comes out. This one should be decided here. Very, very strong performance from Singapore, and maybe seeing something that could be a little bit of a weakness for the UK here on this type of map. Bubbleman obviously going to be consistent and confident on anything, but the rest of the team not putting up the scores they needed, and it's hard to compete with a double FC from your opposition. Loslite and Emilia doing a great job on this first pick for their team.
Well, this is super solid from Singapore right there. Emilia, I think, a little bit less surprising with the strong performance on there. Loslite, not normally someone I think that you would pin down as a awkward aim, low AR hidden pick player. I mean, Loslite, very heavily known for, hidden hard rock, stream consistency, big mechanics maps. A little bit less so for the reading and the gimmick. So it's very nice to see that even players like Loslite are going to be, useful for Singapore on stuff like this. The UK not looking super strong on the early stage reading maps here, and I guess it's a little bit less on the side of reading and more on that awkward aim with the density filling in. But at least Singapore has found a way to get themselves right into this match. They're not letting anything slip away here at the beginning. UK very quickly going to go for the hard rock too. They're going to go for Makes Me Wonder. We're just going to completely change up skill sets 3 times in a row here.
Yeah, no kidding, huh? We go from the speed NoMod to the low approach rate aim map into the circle size 6.5. And again, with this pool being so early, these are kind of going to be staple maps for their slots. So this 6.5 is low BPM. It's got some bursts and some streams, a little bit of pattern aim, but it kind of fits right in with what you'd expect. And UK has a pretty strong precision roster this year. I mean, we know Kingling, one of the best small circle players in the world. So gonna test the waters here in a different skill set, but another one that they feel they're gonna be strong on.
I think it's very interesting. We've been seeing, and I don't know if UK is going to set their roster as this, but we've been seeing majoreh a lot more across these precision hard rock picks and tournaments as of recent. I think, if you looked maybe a year and a half ago, I don't think you ever would have seen majoreh in for, as consistently as we do now for these precision picks, but he's become almost a sit-in for the teams that he's been on for some of these hard rock picks here, and it's very interesting to see the skill sets kind of round out for someone like him. majoreh for many years now has been, one of the stronger players on the UK roster, and if he's been able to round his skill sets out more over the past few years, being able to back up players like Bubbleman and Karthy on this roster and that set 4 is another reason that the UK might make a big improvement here. You got players like megumic on the side of Singapore as well, who are just absolutely like demon precision players. This is going to be a very close map, I think, between these two.
Yeah, this is a skill set that I'm a little less familiar with on the Singapore side. I will not lie. Their precision is something I haven't seen quite as much of to know one way or the other. But on an early round pool like this, I think anybody that's moderately competent on a given skill set will be able to perform okay. I mean, this is not going to be the hardest of maps, so we'll get into it and see how things go. Get to see the Kingling Blue Bubbleman majoreh squad taking on megumic, Demonical, Loslite, SeeL, and another relatively short map, just 2.5 minutes, but decent amount of note density through the majority of it, so there will be a fair amount of combo to build up, and we'll see if anybody's got those early round jitters, because those can cause you to miss on small circles very, very easily.
Yeah, we saw a couple cursor slips in the previous matches this morning that kind of let some points up here, but bloo and SeeL going to be trading off some early breaks here, going to keep it pretty even between the two. Blue's accuracy lead is going to make a really big difference here, and again, we mentioned players like Kingling on this map, who this is so comfortable for him that it's not even going to be comparable to any other player in this lobby, I think.
Yeah, Kingling is like one of the best precision players in this entire tournament. I mean, the guy is incredible at hard rock accuracy, small circle hard rock. Very, very strong on this, and Bubbleman as well, keeping that act up super high. majoreh holding the FC with 99 as well, and really nothing on the side of Singapore that can contest that. You see another break from SeeL. Loslite just broke. megumic with another break for them. So very clearly the UK favored in this early on, already taking over 200k lead.
Well, not much that Singapore can do right now except hope and, you know, that the UK finds at least one break here to make the scoreline closer, but passing that halfway point in the map right now with only one FC on Demonical, with accuracy, you know, that a little bit worse for wear than the 3 FCs on the UK, and bloo, negligible combo difference. I mean, we're about 110 combo down on bloo right now, which is higher than, you know, 3 of the 4 players on the side of Singapore right here. This is just the team performance from the UK, I think, that we kind of expect from them in these early stages here as well. Just a team that has so much tournament experience and how comfortable they are with maps like this that, you know, it's even with a team as proficient as Singapore at precision picks, it makes it look, you know, like they're just so far ahead.
Yeah, there is finally going to be that break from majoreh, so not going to be the 3-way, but yeah, this is just UK. I mean, it's just the UK being better at this skill set. It's pretty much all this comes down to. They are clearly very comfortable with this map and this style of map, and that's a solid score, man. Just under 4 million. That is really, really strong. bloo and majoreh, you know, in that 840 to 880 range, and then the double FC from Kingling and Bubbleman. Demonical with the lone full combo for Singapore. A bright spot in the darkness for them, but clearly not their favorite skill set, and it shows with that result. So 2 very good picks from the UK to start off, and 2 very different picks. You know, you go from speed into small circles. We'll see where Singapore goes after the first pick, low approach rate. What is going to be their kind of pivot point here?
I do wonder if Singapore, you know, Singapore is one of those teams that I think has a strong NoMod 2 roster, but I wonder if they're going to want to chance it against the UK, who is pretty proficient in these more aim-oriented NoMod 2s. I think the spacing and velocity change on the NoMod 2 this week might prove to be a little bit difficult, but I mean, you know, if you're looking at this roster of players, you know, like Loslite and megumic and players like that, you really have to wonder if they're going to chance it with that over DT. They're going to go hidden. Now that... Huh.
I mean, they went hidden too, and they won it pretty comfortably, so maybe they're just saying, hey, you know, we feel good with this mod, and we're just going to pick the other option available.
Yeah.
You know, the hidden one, very, very different stylistically, obviously, than the hidden 2. Bubble Flower kind of throws a lot of different skills at you. It's got some aim, it's got some overlap reading, it's got that super cool swing rhythm part. I love that part of this song. It's mapped really, really well. But, you know, it's saying, hey, we like our hidden roster, and we like our hidden roster's chances. Whether or not the UK did poorly on the previous hidden pick because of them not being good at low approach rate or just not being good at hidden is, I think, what we're going to find out here with this pick from Singapore, who looked really strong on their first hidden pick.
They really did, and, you know, we saw some flickering performances from teams on this in previous matches this morning. So, you know, we had it banned in the first match, but in that Hong Kong-Turkey match, you know, you kind of flip back and forth on this. Some of the sliders in this really will catch you off guard, and I think that's, you know, not too much of a surprise for most people if you've played a Kecking map before. I think, you know, tournament mapping aside, I think that's kind of the style that you expect from this. But both teams, strong hidden rosters on here. I don't know if I could, you know, pin either one as having a distinct advantage. I guess you could give it to Singapore, but even then, it's a complete difference in terms of density and reading on this. You know, AR 9.2, while not ridiculously easy to read, for a lot of players, it certainly is a whole different beast than an AR 8 hidden pick, especially with the aim styles being so different, less linear, it's less pattern aimed, and more just, you know, going through the motions here. This is more mechanically oriented of a hidden pick, as you'd expect from a hidden one, which may make this a little bit more contested, but both teams are consistent today. I'm not going to make a prediction about this one.
Yeah, I think, excuse me, I think just in general, this is a little bit less of a binary pick. Hidden 2, it's kind of in that realm of you can either play it or you can't a lot of the time, even in early rounds, because a lot of people just aren't good at area hidden. Whereas with a hidden 1, there's a little more room for people who aren't, maybe 100% fully confident with the style of map to play, to find at least something in it they can do better on, I guess. But this is actually, I think, one of the trickier maps in the pool, just in terms of its overall skill requirement, because it throws several different aspects at you. I think, looking out for like another just Bubbleman FC, but the hidden name looked good on Singapore. Yeah, I think, like you said, I think this is going to be very contested. I think this is really a coin flip in the sense of it being able to go either way, rather than it being like necessarily a poor selection. Also, yeah, the Cat Gems, this is such a good song. It's really nice. Sound Solar just makes good stuff.
Gotta give credit where credit's due. This is the entertainer right here. Close pick, mind you, as well, at this pause section right here. Just a couple 1,000-point difference on the accuracy. And I mean, look at Tebi and Demonical up there, both holding double S's still without any issues thus far. And the map doesn't really change too much, so, it's going to be hard-pressed to see massive act drops from them.
Yeah, you go through this middle third of the map with fairly consistent style. There is a break from Karthy, missing an entire burst. So that is going to give Singapore a pretty big advantage, but Loslite tosses it right on back over, dropping his accuracy right down to join Karthy. Tebi, the second break from Singapore. That gets scary now. You still have the triple FC, and there goes Demonical as well. Oh, boy.
Oh, no.
All right. Well, this may have just ended, because that's now 3 FCs from the UK to just the 1 over on the side of Singapore. That was really unfortunate right there. Just about the 2/3 mark. That's going to be a bad score cap, and you come into this kind of swing rhythm section. There's not as much note density here, and that's going to be the UK running away with this, I think, in the last quarter.
Yeah, that is a very quick downward spiral for Singapore right there. They were so confident. Demonical and Tebi both holding a double S through that halfway point of the map, and just unfortunate breaks from them. Bubbleman and Karthy do break at the ending, but Jemzsee and bloo both holding those FCs. Blue with very good accuracy, above 99% there. And it's just Emilia once again to come in for Singapore again. We mentioned that Emilia was a great addition for the team for Singapore this year. And, despite maybe more tournament inexperience compared to some of the players in this lobby, that skill still very much shows through for Emilia, in this lobby right here. Blue top scoring that map by a decent margin. They're 1.04 million on a hidden pick. The UK is going to take their 3rd point, going to take that one away from Singapore, mind you, as well. So now Singapore is going to fight that uphill battle, try and get back into this.
Yeah, very impressed, as we were saying, by Emilia. He is playing quite well in this match. The hidden aim, I think, a very good spot for him to be in. But the UK showing, I think, early on here that they are a pretty well-rounded roster. They've, up 3-1. On the 4 maps, they're like a player from their team has top scored all 4 of the maps, and it's been a different player each time. You have majoreh, Bubbleman, Kingling, and now bloo have all top scored a map for that team. So you can kind of get the sense that the UK is going to make use of everyone on that roster. They're all going to have a role to play in their given skill set. And we're going to continue switching over, going right down the mod pools, going into that double time section. DT2 is going to be the pick here from UK. I expected this one to come out eventually. This is the... It feels a lot like the NoMod 5, a little bit faster, a little more stamina requirement. But in general, this is going to feel right at home for these UK speedy boys.
Well, might as well stick to your strong suits here. I think that the UK is going to benefit very much from picking into the picks that they know that they can put up that 4-man performance on. I think that's, that is the easiest way to know that you can work your way through these early stages. Every team that has qualified for this tournament, in some sense, is going to be fairly comfortable in a round of 32 pool, given that the qualifiers pool was, 2 or 3 rounds more difficult than what they are currently playing in theory. So when you kind of tone the pools down a little bit, being able to put up that 4-person performance as a team is invaluable for these rosters that, not only pride themselves on maybe having a couple of skill cap players, but really have that solid all-around here. And, unfortunately enough, when you're in early matchups between seeds like this, it's hard to kind of determine who's going to have the more consistent match. Singapore's got a whole roster of players right here that on any given day could whack an FC out on these maps like it was no problem. But so does the UK, and fortunately for them, they're having just a slightly better match in terms of overall performance and consistency right now.
Yeah, I think there's just this sort of sense of typically of confidence from the UK that you get. And I don't know, maybe Singapore has that as well, but it's not quite as visible as though we did see blue with the first miss. But this is another map that I think should be pretty contested, despite the fact that UK won NoMod 5 going away. You've got some players who are very good in this skill set for Singapore. The one concerning factor I'm going to see that I'm going to be watching is going to be Emilia's accuracy, because on this type of map, he is forced to do the alternating pen-tap key press, which is very hard to have good accuracy on, but he is staying right up there a little bit above blue, so it's keeping things pretty close, and still no misses yet from Singapore, so about 130 combo advantage to the good for their team looking to bring this break point back.
Well, both teams strong right now, and again, you mentioned blue has had a little bit more trouble than most other players on the roster today, has found those, early breaks compared to everyone else. There goes Demonical for Singapore.
Gets hop back on their team too, up at 99.7%. So that's their best score. It's going to fall. It's going to be UK looking to take this lead back here through the middle portion of the map. It should flicker right on over, barring a break from one of their players. But it's blue finding his second miss. It's actually... It should just stay close. It benefits Singapore. It's going to stay pretty close still. Demonical up by just under 200 combo now. Will take the lead back. This is going to make sense. There goes, there goes Malteser. Okay, wait a second. This could get very interesting.
Singapore's got the accuracy enough, too. Look at this. It's right next to each other. It's just that difference of Malteser. Now, that score lead has now shot well over 100,000. And everyone coming into the last couple seconds here, Emilia's the only one that's really shaking on Singapore for this pick, but it's GSBlank to find a break. It might be too late, though.
I don't think there's enough time. They still have the double FC on Singapore. That's going to hold on to this lead, and Demonical with a big combo. That can match blue and Malteser, so this should be fine for Singapore. Not enough time left for UK to make the comeback happen. And maybe we were a little wrong about UK being able to mechanics abuse Singapore, because Singapore says, no, sir, we're not having any of that. And they're going to take the break point right on back with a great 4.1 million score. Double FC from Emilia and megumic. GSBlank just a little bit behind, still 990k. Those breaks from blue were unfortunately the downfall of the United Kingdom on that map. That is well done by Singapore, taking that quick break point right back their way.
That was unbelievably unfortunate for the UK. Malteser's miss right at the ending was the difference, I think, between them winning and losing that map. He had the second highest accuracy in the lobby aside from Demonical. 7 100s and 1 miss, 8 100s, 1 miss, and 150. If you don't see that break from Malteser at the end, despite everything that blue, kind of misaimed in that map or kind of messed up, Malteser was a difference maker on that map, and unfortunately, not the time for him in that team performance from Singapore. Again, I can be as redundant as, we kind of like about this, but the team performance on these maps is really all that matters. You can put up whatever solo performance that you want, but if you don't have the backing players for it, it's really not going to mean too much. And, I think Singapore possibly a little bit underseeded out of qualifiers, definitely could have worked their way up the seedings just a little bit more from here. This matchup is going to be a tight one, especially, we mentioned Singapore's early stage skill floor. Going to benefit them fairly heavily here. Emilia continuing to be a performance giver in the map, and they're going to go for NoMod 3.
Yeah, so Singapore are going to continue their trend of taking away from, kind of raw mechanics. Going to go into the alt NoMod pick here. Tanjun ni. This is it's that early round, really long alt pick, kind of hybrid of, I think, a little bit of snap aim, a little bit of flow alt aim. But this one is going to be a consistency tester, man. 4 minutes is nothing to sneeze at, especially when you're in a close match like this one is proving to be so far.
This map is, I think, again, this may benefit the UK in the sense that I think, you know, if you've played tournaments to an extent, you know this map fairly well. I think this has been used a couple of times, not necessarily this difficulty, mind you, but this mob stiff. I mean, if you take a look at even like the leaderboards for this map, you got Kingling with #1 on this map with hidden hard rock. So if you get the mods taken off for him, you know, you kind of expect like almost a guaranteed FC in most senses. I mean, this map is not one of those maps that gets more difficult when you take off hidden hard rock because of density or something like that. I mean, it's CS4 AR 9.4, which is kind of like dead smack in the middle of that perfectly comfortable zone for a lot of these players. So, got some contention here, but Singapore, I mean, I look at a roster of Rtyzen, Demonical, Loslite, and megumic, and I feel fear on a NoMod 3. I think that's just the name that the Singapore roster has made for themselves by this point.
Yeah, I think this is a really solid roster for this type of map for the Singapore side. So I think we are going to see another very close, very competitive pick here. UK, I mean, like you said, Kingling rank 1 on this on the leaderboard. Bubbleman, Karthy, bloo. Obviously, no slouches on the alt picks. This should be a very closely fought battle, I think. And I really feel like, you know, the length of this, we haven't seen too many players looking like they're all that nervous. But if you're ever gonna feel that kind of nerves, it might be on a map that's this long.
Yeah, well, there goes bloo with that early break again. I don't think there's been a single map thus far that we haven't seen bloo just break at the beginning.
Yeah, he's having some trouble early on in maps. I don't know what's going on over there. Fortunately, there's this kind of easy free combo first verse here to build up a little bit, but he's having a little rough go of things on the early stages of these picks.
It's the nerve eliminator. That's what it
is.
It is.
Yeah, that is the method. Just get the early break out of the way, and then you can FC the rest of it without having to feel like, oh god, I'm holding a full combo.
Yeah, that's basic. That's the strategy we'll chalk it up to. bloo is eliminating all nerves possible. I mean, he's not having a bad play. He's right up at 99% act. Bubbleman slider break.
That's not good. Oh. I mean, that's 400 combo in, and that's a 4-way FC still going on over on the Singapore side.
That was nothing.
Yeah, he just slider broke. I don't know if he just missed after or something. That was very strange. But that gives Singapore a pretty solid advantage. Demonical still holding on to the SS. Over 99 on Rtyzen and megumic, so very good spot to be in for Singapore here early on. About a third of the way in, that lead is going to start to grow slowly. With the map being so long, it doesn't grow all that quick, but it'll get there if they keep this up. There's a break from Karthy as well. This is not going all that well for the United Kingdom. 3 misses already. It's going to be Singapore just kind of rolling with this lead. Another break from bloo. I don't want to say this is already over because we're not even halfway through the map. The lead is like barely 100,000 points. But UK just does not look like they've got it on this map.
Yeah, I don't... You know, the UK is not necessarily a team that you would expect to struggle this much on an early stage, you know, NoMod 3 kind of flow aim alt map. So I don't even know if it's them struggling or if it's just Singapore is absolutely destroying this map right now. And I think it's the latter. I mean, you're halfway through this map right now, and I don't think a single player on Singapore has shown even a slight sign of struggling on any pattern yet. Oh, nope. Never mind.
megumic missed most of one pattern, so
complete misread.
He's making a liar out of you very quickly there. It's okay. They've still got the triple FC. It's fine. Yeah, I mean, this is a very good performance from Singapore. You you go 1,000 combo with 4-way FC, and you're a couple hundred combo past that with a 3-way FC still. But I think, as Loslite finds the next break, I think if you want to be a team that's competing to win the whole thing, you have to be able to put up a couple of FCs on maps like this, and UK is just not doing that. And I don't know if that's the consistency not quite being there for NoMod 3s, or if that's them just underperforming a little bit on this particular day. But you look forward at teams that, don't find the expected outcomes, and you don't necessarily have the best feeling for them.
Well, unfortunately, that double break for bloo and Karthy, and there's the FC, it's gone. Yeah, all right, well, and with Kingling goes the UK's chances of doing anything on this map if they weren't already gone already. Singapore is going to put up an absolutely ridiculous team score. Demonical and Bubbleman going to trade out, and Rtyzen is just going to continue doing things here. I will not mention until the map is completed in a couple of seconds, because that triangle at the ending is dangerous.
Yeah, alt maps always feel like you can break just about anywhere, and the players kind of do go to show that is pretty true. Boy, Rtyzen with a little bit of late shake there, but it was after the ending combo. So that is the lone FC going to come out from Rtyzen. Very good performance. Whoa, okay, I guess we have an instant switch here to the next pick. Dear me.
Wow.
That is going to be... that's going to be Singapore winning their pick, taking it to 3-all. And UK... before the map was even over on my screen there, UK already have Hard Rock 1 in, so it is going to be Mushikui Saikade Rhythm, the slightly higher BPM, aim-focused Hard Rock pick. UK liked Hard Rock 2, and we're going to see if they like Hard Rock 1 also.
Well, luckily we had the map change switch without destroying the client today, so we can continue right on with the match here, but this is, the UK, their Hard Rock 2 performance was kind of as scary as what you would, kind of saw out of Singapore on that previous alt map there. So I am interested to see if the UK can replicate the performance that they had somewhat on the Hard Rock 2 on their Hard Rock 1. I think that Singapore has more of a chance of putting up a strong team performance on a Hard Rock 1, but with the consistency from the UK on mechanics-oriented maps today, and, Kingling seems like he's having a really good day, and it's pretty beneficial to have your best Hard Rock player having a good day on your Hard Rock 1 pick, so...
Yeah. This, I think, from what I've heard from player feedback, that to a lot of people, this map is fairly simple and straightforward, and if you are familiar with the map, it's not exactly untrue to say that anyway. Like you said, I think this is going to be more a pick where Singapore might be able to get a look at another break point than Hard Rock 2. But UK mechanics, I mean, they won on the hidden one. This is, I think, you kind of have to assume that UK is going to put up a good score on this, but given how they're performing so far, I mean, nothing seems guaranteed.
I don't know. This is a sigh match right now, because you can't really predict anything anymore. All predictability of this match has been lost right now, because they're just going back and forth.
Yeah. I think what we have to do. I think what we have to do here is we have to watch, the first, the intro first PI, and then kind of go from there. That still leaves half, 2/3 of the pick after that. I think by that point we'll be able to get a feel for who is looking more comfortable and more confident on this pick.
bloo did not miss in the first 200 combo.
Yeah,
the
it's
UK
true.
wins.
bloo holding an SS through 240 combo. That's a good sign.
Oh,
very good
never.
There we go. Okay, well, it's not a good sign anymore. It's a good sign for bloo. It may not be a good sign for the United Kingdom as a whole, but it was a good sign for bloo. Meanwhile, the 4-way on the side of Singapore still intact. Very solid accuracy for everybody except Loslite as well, down at 96, low 97 for him. Meanwhile, the entire UK has over 99, so they do maintain that lead for now.
It's going to go back pretty quickly here, but we're going to keep it right down the middle. Oh, never mind. Loslite lost it.
That's always that concern, you look at the player with the lowest accuracy and you think maybe that's going to be with a break, and there goes Rtyzen as well. Yeah. So that is a big advantage to UK now, 3 FCs to just 2. going into the second verse.
Strong performance from the UK. You know, I think we kind of expected this on a Hard Rock pick, this overall team accuracy. I mean, Kingling, from what we saw on the Hard Rock 2 and every map that Kingling has ever played with Hard Rock, I think we expected a strong accuracy. bloo is an outstanding consistency and aim player, so him putting up high ac on this is not a very big surprise as well. Karthy with a slight break actually would have right around the same accuracy as bloo and Kingling without that miss. Bubbleman bringing up the rear, but I guess if you're bringing up the rear with 99.5, you're in a pretty good spot right now.
Yeah, this active for the UK is actually pretty ridiculous. I mean, we know they're good at mechanics, but keeping that kind of accuracy on a Hard Rock pick like this is really, really impressive. Demonical and GSBlank doing what they can to keep things in check, but those breaks from Rtyzen and Loslite not helping it. There is a break from Karthy. If the UK finds one more break, this could get kind of close at the end, but Rtyzen and GSBlank both break instead. Yeah. And well, it's still just over a quarter of the map, but I think it is pretty well decided with a 400k lead.
Kingling almost is done. Kingling is like 100 off an SS, 2 100. So this is... I mean, the chances of Kingling finding a break right now are very low, and the UK realistically only just needs one person to hold for... Actually, I don't even know if they do. I don't even know if they do.
This is out of reach for Singapore at this point. This is just a really good team performance for the United Kingdom. Last FC gone from Singapore. Oh, Kingling does find a break. Oh, man.
Oh, no.
Accuracy, too. He would have top scored. He might... No, he won't be able to top score now. But that act is so good, too. That's really sad. Bubbleman now will... take that top score honor, it looks like.
Yeah, Bubbleman no longer bringing up the rear, making an AC improvement for the entire map.
Yeah. Notably, a 3.67 million score with a 569k from Karthy. That's like a what could have been scenario there if Karthy had not found those breaks. UK looking very, very good on that pick, and now they push it out to match point. And you had mentioned earlier... Singapore may be thinking about kind of coin flipping that NoMod 2 against a UK that is ridiculously strong at stream maps, but they are going to do it with their last pick of the match.
There it is. They have a strong NoMod 2 roster. I mean, I feel like even if you were to look past nobody on the Singapore roster besides Loslite, you would say that they have a strong NoMod 2 team. I mean, that's putting aside the performance that we've seen out of players like Kitty in previous years. Or even in, community tournaments for that matter. Emilia, unfortunately, not going to be quite as useful on the NoMod 2 map, especially a variable spacing like NoMod 2 like this, where you kind of have stream velocity that changes frequently. But
it's always interesting watching NoMod 2s over the course of a tournament, because I feel like NoMod 2 is probably the type of map where there are the most kind of knobs to turn to adjust difficulty, right? You can increase BPM, you can increase spacing, you can increase the length of streams, you can increase the stream aim complexity. So there's a lot of little ways you can increase the difficulty of NoMod 2s, to fit the stage. You could take this same map, make the spacing bigger, and make the streams longer, and you would have something that was like a star harder. This being so early on, it's pretty straightforward, very comfortable 184 BPM. I don't think there's anybody in this tournament who's going to really struggle with this type of pick. So this is just going to come down to the basic early round NoMod 2 consistency here for these two teams. And hopefully, for Singapore's sake, they can come out on top and force a tiebreaker.
I hope for this tournament's sake they come out and force a tiebreaker right now. I think that would be very exciting to open up the round of 32 here.
We've talked about a little bit in some different servers and stuff whether there were any likely matches to go to tiebreaker, and I don't know that people necessarily would have said this one, but Singapore has come out in pretty impressive fashion. Worst case scenario, they put up 3 points against a UK team that people have been talking about as a potential top 4 candidate this year. So that's a good performance from Singapore no matter what happens, but they're looking to make it even better as we get into their last pick, and this will be the last pick before potential TB.
I mean, it's kind of funny. You look at this UK roster, and I feel like if this was any other time ever, I would look at these 4 players, and I would say that there is absolutely zero chance that they lose to any team. I mean, you look at Bubbleman and Karthy and bloo and Kingling in a map, and you can, knowingly and willingly say that they are going to lose a stream pick it really says something about Singapore at this point in their performance. I mean, you could think of a point like a year or two ago where that would never have even crossed your mind. And Karthy gonna find that first early break, so it is gonna give it over to Singapore, which means that they can see the light at the end of the tunnel for tiebreaker right now.
Yeah, this is, a middle length map. It's 3.5 minutes. There's a lot of time left. There's a lot of combo, but maybe just that bit of combo you can start to get built up from Singapore. There's nothing in this that's overly difficult. There's a couple of longer streams. There's that one, it's kind of like 2/3 of the way through. There's like an awkward overlap stream that I would not be surprised to see that catch people out. But in general, pretty straightforward, pretty comfortable. So it's surprising to see a player like Karthy breaking twice already, but there goes Tebi. So it is going to, kind of void that combo lead that Singapore would have been able to build up. But they do have about, what is that, a 70k lead or so. Yeah. That accuracy staying really high, though. Kingling 1x100, Bubbleman SS. That is to mash Loslite's SS, and Tebi with another break. This starts to get a little rough now. It's going to go back and forth very heavily as Karthy finds a break as well, so no combo advantage either way at the halfway mark.
There's nothing they're going to be able to do about this right now. We mentioned Loslite going to be a big performer on this map, still holding that double S right alongside Bubbleman, but we're going to start to come into that last quarter of the map within the next 15 seconds here, 15, 20 seconds, and that's do or die time right there. They need Karthy to be able to hold the combo. There goes Tebi breaking it again, and that's the opportunity that the UK needs. They may be able to shut this out before tiebreaker. Tebi is struggling so much.
Tebi's having a really hard time, down all the way to 96% accuracy. UK should be able to take the lead, and there is SeeL goes as well for Singapore. That is probably going to seal the deal. Pun completely unintended, of course. But Kingling blew Bubbleman. There was megumic as well. All right, that's going to be the GG right there. That is unfortunate for Singapore. They looked so good for the first half of this map, but UK just holding the stamina, holding the consistency down. Bubbleman saying, hey guys, don't worry, I've got this. The SS still intact for him. Kingling just a couple hundreds, and bloo a little bit behind on accuracy, but this is just a great team performance from the United Kingdom. A triple FC.
Oh no, he drops the double S.
And Bubbleman with the latest couple of... Did he just not play the last burst at the right time? Yeah.
Forgot about it. He just 50'd it. Oh no.
You hate to see it. Well, he doesn't even top score because of that either. Kingling ends up with the higher score. Oh man. Loslite, shoutouts to Loslite, by the way, maintaining the full combo with 400 is a very good play from him, but unfortunately, Tebi just fell off of the face of the earth on that, and there was no coming back from those late breaks for Singapore. So UK, they begin their 2021 campaign, I think, in a little bit of a rougher fashion than they would have liked. 5-3 against a pretty strong Singapore team, but I think they could definitely want to have a couple of those performances back, make this look a little cleaner. But it's job done for the United Kingdom. 5-3, they take the win. They go on to round of 16, where they will most likely, let's see, they already do.
South Korea.
It is a rematch. South Korea, the rematch.
It is a rematch.
2 years in a row, we get round of 16 UK versus South Korea. That's going to be a match that nobody wants to miss. That is going to be a hell of a round of 16 match right there. My goodness.
Oh, what more can you say? I mean, you got the round of 16 last year. South Korea, the team to knock the UK to the losers bracket. The question, I think, in everyone's minds is that with the improvements that the UK has made to their roster this year, can they reciprocate and return the favor to South Korea? The question, both of these teams full well deserve to move on to the next stage of the tournament in the winners bracket. Unfortunately, only one of them is going to be able to advance there. So I guess all we can say is best of luck to those two teams. One of you will be advancing through, and the other one is going to have a little bit of a fun time maybe down in the losers bracket, where we are going to have just a whole competitive tournament from start to finish this year. There's not much else. I mean, what else can you say about that matchup? You cannot miss it.
Yeah, that is... Boy, that's... So, 2019, that was the losers bracket final matchup. South Korea won on a tiebreaker. 2020, round of 16, I want to say South Korea won something like 5-3.